All right. Many of you asking, when does the game start? And the answer is right now. It's the final match in the round of 8. We got a lot of cool things to talk about. I want to shout out every single person for tuning in right now. Hopefully you are enjoying the games as much as we are. But none of this would be possible without TING. TING is a U.S. mobile phone service. Make sure to check them out, bttv.ting.com. Spawning here on the top right side of Dusk Towers, however, we've got the blue Terran player from Team Elevate. That's right, I forgot he's on this strange new team. It's MaSa, the Canadian.
In the bottom left, as the red Zerg, he is Rogue, the Korean.
Yeah, repping Jin Air, of course. One of the very few teams to actually participate in this from the Kispa squadron of the world. Really don't know what happened to Solar and a lot of our Samsung buddies, the people we normally see, but this is going to be an interesting one because there's so much going against Rogue coming into this. I feel like MaSa's chances to win this have increased exponentially with every passing minute that went by in the previous series. This is almost an hour and a half behind schedule, and that's not because of anything that went wrong. I mean, we were ahead of schedule before we played Snoop versus Ryung, and then that ended up just being like 30-minute, 40-minute games all over the place.
Yeah. The longest series we've cast for TING, I'm going to guess. The best of 5s, after all. And just the longest games we've seen in a while for Legacy of the Void as well.
Also, it's worth noting, by the way, with that last game being won by Snoot, not only does it guarantee a semifinals of Foreigners, Snoot versus Mana, Team Kill, all that good stuff, it guarantees one of those two Foreigners to be in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to have possibly Korean versus Foreigner finals. But let's not forget, if MaSa does win this series, goes on to fight against Gumiho, Crazy Universe defeats Gumiho, we could actually have a Foreigner versus Foreigner finals, which the fact that that's still a possibility as of the moment of saying this is kind of insane to me.
Yeah, certainly. Rogue is going to be a very tough opponent, even if he is... It's 4:30 in the morning, and Rogue has not been playing, I'm going to guess. Not going to warm up because he's so freaking tired.
I do want to point out that Rogue played just yesterday. We saw him on the streamer. For those who missed the group, he made mincemeat out of Polt.
Mm-hmm.
And it started off weird, too, because it was a big 2-0 start for Polt, because Rogue had gone for these all-ins that failed pretty miserably. I'm looking at this Overlord speed and wondering what's going on in this game. But it is the fact that he turned that series around, won 3-0, and he did it really strong. Like, I feel bad saying this because it's Polt, I am champion, but Rogue made him look silly. Like, Rogue was just, he won those games very one-sidedly. It wasn't like close back and forth, like, oh my god, it would go either way. Like, it was Rogue all the way.
Rogue is playing a different style. Actually, you know what's funny is that they weren't Rogue all the way. They were Rogue. Yeah, okay, because Rogue actually did two base all-ins that failed miserably, and then he was like, okay, I'm going to take this seriously or something, changing him. And then he dominated with a very... interesting style, basically Heart of the Storm style, like staying on Mutilating Bling a lot longer than most of the people are doing. Still eventually getting up to Ultralist, but only at 12 minutes, something reasonable, basically. So I don't know if MaSa has been studying that, if he's anticipating some cheesiness from Rogue, who's also that, if you're cranky and awake at 4:30 in the morning, you might be even more apt to cheese, but if he's going to be aware of the fact that Rogue, could just stay on Mutilating Bling. Being aggressive, trying to hit the timing before you think Ultra's going to be out, is going to get you overwhelmed by Banelings. He's got to be aware of that. So MaSa is not a bad player himself, of course, and should be aware of that. And I'm hoping he said it a little bit, but he's also a college student, so... Well,
MaSa, he's good. Absolutely. And he finished second place in his group, all that good stuff. It is worth noting, though, just to follow up on Rogue, one more point. He did beat Ryung as well in that final. It's like, his ZVT looked great. And as you pointed out when we started casting earlier today, one of the big things about Rogue was he didn't win through late game. We didn't have 40-minute games with Ultralisk. It was a lot of Mutalisk play. It was a lot of Banelings. It was, obviously we saw the attempt at all-in. And I do wonder, where we are playing on servers that might not be preferable to him, again, we are going to be doing server hopping. We start on Central, but this will be interesting to see how he plays. And what choices perhaps get dictated by latency.
So, I would say that Mutilating Bling would be a little more difficult for that latency issue, but that's what he played against Polt, so that was still there. It's not going to deter him entirely. But it's Dusk Towers, and you would expect, Mutilating Bling, I would at least, from the guy who made it look so good and so easy, but it's actually going to be Roaches. He's getting the Roach Warren a little bit late. He was able to get away with quite a bit of greed, already he's going to go up to 66 drones, it looks like, so... Roach, though, went a little bit late, but has the upgrades on the way. Is going to be able to get speed right off the bat as well because his lairs are already done. He got a good scout off on MaSa, who wasn't going for anything cheesy or weird, too basey. Did get a 3rd base. Is going to go for immediate drops, which you will not be able to scout. You don't know if they're going to push you directly or try and drop, but these Overlords are covering Rogue's main base and should be able to see it.
By the way, just a quick last mention. We've been shouting him out all day, but Ting Jesse is still lurking around. If you guys have any questions regarding Ting, with this being the last best of 5 today, it's your best chance to get your questions in and ask them about their services. Again, hopefully we can get 40 people signed up and activated with Ting by the time this tournament's concluded. That way we will have another tournament from Ting.
Mm-hmm. Another awesome round of 8, potentially.
I know. It's not even just this round of 8. Like, I would love to do the math on how many games we cast coming into this, because there was 8 double elimination qualifiers. There was 8 groups, into 4 more groups into this round of 8. Like, there's so many StarCraft games that got played.
Yeah. Combat was not done, so he was not planning on taking a direct fight, and that is even all of his army. Throws down a 2nd factory. He's going to start his 2-2. It's a question of what Rogue's planning on doing. His 1-1 finished up, so his 2-2 should start soon. He also takes a 4th base, so it shouldn't be too aggressive, something that MaSa is going to be surprised by, of course, although his tank production is only just starting with this tech lab finishing up.
Good deflection here, too, by the way. Rogue making sure that those Marines weren't doing too much more than just cleaning up creep. Because it was earlier today, we watched Snoot kind of lose out, having no Roaches, no Ravagers to fight with. I think it was that Ruins game, but Rogue is coming, are going to have to deal with more as MaSa's got more coming down the pipeline. But he does have continued production. He didn't cut this and start getting really greedy with drones. Lings are on the way. Infestation Pit starts up. Ravagers are good to go. This shouldn't be too terrible of a defense, but it is going to be a tough one.
A little tough. MaSa's composition is just not very good, was my concern. You know, the fact there's no Marauders isn't as big of a deal as Mass Marine will rip through Ravagers, no problem. Marauders just help tank a little bit more and survive a little bit more, but it's the lack of tanks, or even Widow Mines would be better than nothing, although I guess he has 2 Hellbats, but still, that's basically nothing. I don't think he's going to realize that too, and he's not going to be taking the fights. He's going to kind of start us up here, but then lift and try and leave, and Crystal Battles would not be able to stop that. And immediately unloads, funnily enough. And his tank count is getting up now, but it's going to be like at a nice count in time for these Ultras, potentially, which is not when you would want to have your real push coming. You want to have it right before the Ultras are on the way out. Oh, these double drops could do some damage.
Oh. I just realized too, so I was looking at our tournament stats. To this really quick. We have 1 of each race in the semifinals. Gummio, MaNa, and Snoot.
JK, Protoss was severely underrepresented.
I know, but it was represented well by those that did represent.
Yeah. Alright, so the double drops were met just with a handful of Roaches. Seems to be just enough.
He didn't fully unload them either, which is kind of a problem coming into this. Goes for Queen on the last throes of death. Gets maybe the medevacs out at least, hopefully. Topside's got a bit of an attack set up too, but this isn't looking too promising.
They got a lot of infestors on the way, and they are going to have an instant fungal. Hive's finishing up, and this army is not going to be easily pushed back or destroyed by MaSa, especially without the tanks following up here. 2-2-1 is on the way. Looks like Rogue's only going to have that +2 Carapace. And if MaSa pushed out right now with 6 tanks, the 2 on the way, coming with this army, I think it could seriously contend and make Rogue sweat a little bit. You know, not as many Ultras, because plating won't be done, even if he does go for Ultras right now. And he can abuse that little ledge. But that's where the Fungals are going to be really important.
Oh, they catch the entire army.
Damn.
MaSa. Yo, people are like already in chat asking, like, isn't Rogue Code S level? Like, what's the comparison here? But, like, regardless of how good Rogue is, that was a big mistake out of MaSa. I don't know what happened there, too, because I know for a fact he's better than that.
Oh, no.
Corsair Biles. They're going to land on the bio, but not the tanks. The tanks were held in place, too, by the Fungals. This ends up being a pretty decent fight for MaSa. Rogue making some small mistakes by targeting the wrong units, and now he's getting pushed back. The Ravagers pop off quickly. We all see this happen before. Once the outer layer, you know, the Roaches, the Lings, they go down, so do the Ravagers.
Yeah. I mean, that was surprisingly effective. When you catch tanks out of position, just wide open. They're not on the ledge. They're being, towed around by the medevacs. It usually goes very poorly for the Terran, but MaSa took an okay fight. Problem is, the Remax is good from Rogue, so there's a little bit bank left over to try and go into those Ultras. His Ultras haven't finished, but still no plating. Is gonna have to deal with his army with just Roach Ravager. He saved most of the Infestors, so they're gonna accrue that energy again. And now MaSa's getting that nice position on the bottom of that ledge, and it's still rallying forward. Does he have a 4th base? He does have a 4th base, and it's being put on location now.
He's rushing back. That tank in the back's not pre-sieged. MaSa got lucky with the way that last fight went for him, but it's not going to happen again. Picking up absolutely everything, just trying to salvage some of these units, but fighting Rogue head-on has proven to be very difficult. Now those Ultras going to make this that much worse.
It was so odd seeing MaSa tear down those rocks, not because it's a bad idea, it's actually a really good idea, so his 4th base will never be harassed by Ravagers, but it was always during like a fight,
Yeah.
And it was always a little bit odd. Not that MaSa would have won the fights if he wasn't, but now we have all the upgrades on the way for Rogue. Adrenal Glands, Ultralisk Cavern, even getting a Baneling Nest now. It's a little bit late with a Spire. And MaSa does not have an answer for them other than just, hoping his tanks get really good shots. Still no Liberators on the way, no Ghost Academy.
Changeling seeing the tanks too is really nice. He knows exactly where everything is. This, though, is going to be the push from Rogue to try to stay in the game. With the Ultras on the front line, they don't have chitinous plating done, so they do get torn apart pretty quickly. Even the Planetary Fortress getting some good damage done, but it's just not enough bio. Some of them get trapped here with the Corrosive Biles, combined with the Fungal Growths, and this Planetary does go down. MaSa losing his army. He trades out, but you can't recover.
He's actually not doing as bad as I thought. Once again, not as bad as I thought, but maybe a little bit in the help of the upgrades, because he has 2-2. Well, these Ultras have 2-3, actually, so never mind about that. His upgrades are about to finish, though, at 3-3. So, he would have loved to have that for that fight.
He pushes it back, but this is where it becomes that economy game for Rogue. The 73 drones, the 5 bases, he can remake 5 Ultras no problem. MaSa instead struggles to build 4 Marauders at a time.
Yeah. He just lifts his main over, but you really wanted that as a planetary and a defensive structure so you can set up, either more tanks or your transition into Liberators. Rogue had a bank behind this, so there was a slight, oh my god, could MaSa maybe counterattack? And that's a no. 7 more Ultras are on the way. The upgrades that finish for him, but they're also finishing for Rogue, who got that Carapace and is getting the melee upgrade now. Also, 5th base that he's sending drones over to. Yeah.
Yeah, with the 5th base being... It's not even just about having the 5th. It's the 5th up here that matters. Because if the 5th was taken here, at least MaSa could put a tank, he could put some Marauders there on the cliff. He could deny some of the mining. But he can't. And he hasn't touched Rogue for so long. And I'm scared to look at the income graph. Yep. All red.
MaSa, he's not doing so bad now that he has a 4th base up in mining. And I guess this is natural mine talent. He could try and take a 5th base. But that's going to be even more impossible. Unless he takes a sneaky one.
It's worth noting MaSa's still in the game. That last attack should have killed him. And a lot of other people probably would have died in that attack. And he is a good enough player. This sounds dumb. I'm not trying to call MaSa Code S, guys. He's not going to create a win a GSL anytime soon. But he's a fantastic player. And he beats some of the best foreigners on the regular. So I just feel like this first game is a little bit wonky. We forgot to mention, too, while Rogue's tired, MaSa did just wake up to play this.
Yeah,
he tweeted, literally, just woke up to play. So his first game might be a bit of a warm-up for him. I don't know. But Rogue will be the one to take the first game in the series.
Okay, we're going to East server now.
What's the map?
It's going to be on Arena.
Okay, let me get this set up. So this will be interesting because Rogue, again, we have a lot of context for Rogue because we watched him play 2 absolutely phenomenal Terran players just yesterday. And yesterday, Rogue on Arena tried to do queen drops, and it failed miserably. Like embarrassingly bad. So then for the rest of the day, we didn't see him go back to it. And I'm curious to see if he'll be tempted to here.
Maybe thinking that last game was so easy. Try and pull a free win here, and he's pretty tired.
Yeah. That's the thing, too. I was actually expecting an all-in for that first game, the same way he opened versus Polt, right? Because you're just like, he's probably exhausted. He's been waiting for so long to play. All the things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, game's starting up. Arena, we'll see you guys here in just a moment. Welcome back. Round of 8 continues on, and I do want to remind everybody, because we haven't really talked about it, but this series is worth quite a bit of money. Now, technically, every series we play today is going to be worth that $2,500 first place prize. Nobody wants to get knocked out of the tournament. Everyone wants a chance to fight. But in terms of stakes at hand right now, TING, of course, providing the $5,000 for this tournament, this round of 8 is worth $300. Anyone who loses here walks away from the tournament with $100. That's not too bad. But the person who advances on to the semifinals, that's going to be at least $400 just by getting there. So you're essentially fighting over what is $300 in this best of 5. But again, I digress. First place, $2,500. That's what everyone's shooting for. Plus a trophy.
Hey.
But in the top left, he's gone for a gas. He's gone for a pool. He's not throwing on the hat tree just yet. It is going to be Jen Air's Rogue.
In the bottom left, as the Red Terran, he elevates MaSa. Good news. We have a highlights on SC2 highlights now. Hey.
Well, I mean, we've got tons of highlights.
I know. We have another one.
Yeah, I think it's the Parasitic Bomb, right? I saw like Twitter. I didn't actually get to watch it yet and see what it looked like.
Hell yeah, it's the Parasitic Bomb.
Yeah.
That was very quick. Those guys are good.
I feel bad about when they highlight their stuff, because I know I scream more than other casters. So every time I've watched highlights we have on them, it's just me being very, very loud because I'm excited.
I was worried that I had like screamed. I was pretty quick to actually like literally cover my mouth when that happened. And I actually bothered listening to it to see if it was really loud, and it wasn't.
Was I loud in it?
I mean, you were yelling.
Yeah, because you just have to understand, when this stuff happens, I literally I do the Pog champ in real life. I'm like, oh shit, like that face and everything. Like, all right, so Rogue gets a pretty nice scout on the command center to be on the high ground. It is questionable. You're like, all right, Terran, there's not a lot of one-base builds, but maybe it is an opener with like Banshees and Hellings or something. But seeing the command center is pretty nice.
Yeah, and of course MaSa going for the command center on the high ground because Rogue went for that pool first. Didn't want to risk not seeing the Lings run by or need a Roachborn to follow it up.
You know, even if you aren't doing like gas pool and anything really fast, it is still such a short rush distance that even a drone scout can chip away that SCV. So I actually really like the high ground for a couple of different reasons.
It feels like because the Reaper should be getting a scouting on everything that comes by, that you don't have to. Like, it should see the Lings running by, or it should be out in time for the drone. But MaSa does play it nice and safe and does get that Widowmine drop set up. So Widowmine into tank is going to be an effective build against what Rogue is doing, which is going to be that Ling Queen drop. It's controlled right, yes. That is.
Now, if MaSa gets a bunker on the high ground, obviously the best way we ever saw it thwarted was with a Widowmine here, but if you get a bunker on the high ground, it can sometimes be manageable, and this Reaper needs to scout it, but it's not going to, and that's what makes this really difficult, because if you confirm, if you know for a fact that this is coming, it doesn't necessarily make it easier to hold, but it does become information necessary to staying alive.
Yeah. I think Rogue even tried to kind of hide that third queen that was coming down to get into the overlords, which were all made on the front lines. So MaSa actually doesn't even need that bunker. Well, I mean, okay, there's two ways to do it. You could try and put a bunker in the natural and hold off there as the Ling reinforcements come by, or you can just entirely give up your natural and only hold in the main, which is definitely the easier way to do it, especially if you do not have a supply depot to stop the Ling reinforcements.
So if you've got the Widowmine to hit one of these overlords, the Marines can focus it down before it unloads, and you'll kill many. Lings actually get some splash damage on the Marines with that Widowmine hit. And MaSa, I feel, cannot hold this. The medevac can maybe scoop up the tank, but it might go down to the queens.
I think it will. It's going to go down really, really quick. And even if the medevac does scoop it up, it has to go over the queens first. So Rogue should definitely target fire the medevac. No, he's trying to get the tank. Oh, and he gets the tank. The SCV repair was not enough.
Marines focus firing down, but this is good damage from Rogue. Even if this doesn't end the game, it's going to put him ahead. And it might just end the game anyway.
Yeah, the reinforcements are really what's the kick here.
You can pick up the queens of micro if you want, too, by the way. So throw that out there. Shuffle them away like Blink micro. Does pick it up. There we go. Scoop.
Unless you're really greedy, the main force shouldn't kill you. You know, with the Marines and the tank available, but the reinforcements of Lings are going to be what's really difficult to clean up, and 22 SCVs have gone down. Certainly enough damage to warrant Rogue's attack and to warrant MaSa's tap out, but he's not going to give up yet. He still has a medevac alive. That means a counterattack could do some more damage and even this game back up. That's a lot to ask for.
It is, and with no SCVs pretty much remaining at this point, I don't have the faith in it.
GG.
Because I was gonna say, what happens following this would be you could just drop again before MaSa has any. But all right, that puts a 2-0 lead now for Rogue. We're not gonna go away for too long, guys, but we are gonna squeeze in some small Ting ads really quick. So, less ads, more tips, I guess you could say. We'll see you guys here in a moment. All right, folks, we're getting back into it. And this might just be the end to the series. I guess that would be the game time karma balancing itself out. Really long Snoot Ryong, really quick MaSa and Rogue. I hope it's not. I hope he's awake and warmed up and gave himself a bit of a slap with that breathing time we gave him, because he is on his last life, spawning in the top right side of Orbital Shipyard. It's going to be Elevate's MaSa.
In the bottom left, it is the Red Zerg Rogue.
Rouge. Ah, that kind of works out because it's red too. Yeah, anyways, as far as this goes, I mean, it's a little bit scary. I was more hyped for MaSa. That first game didn't look super hot. The second game was cheesy, so I don't want to really say MaSa's not looking in form. In fairness, that strategy of drops has a ridiculously high win record, and there's very few people we've seen hold that off well. So I'm really not going to get too ahead of myself and count MaSa out just yet. But this is going to be a tough map because Orbital's not too bad for Zerg. It's a game that goes to the late series if possible, but it's also a map that's very nice for Mutalisks, something that Rogue did defeat 2 other Terrans with.
Yeah, that's true. I was more trying to wait and see if MaSa was going to go for multiple Reapers, but that is not so, and that will give Rogue opportunity to do what he wants for a while longer, including going up to Mutalisk. The options here for MaSa, they feel almost limited. I mean, to go down this quickly in 2 games. First game was actually not too quick, but it was it looked easy for Rogue, only 1 or 2 hiccups there. And the second game being an all-in, I don't know if MaSa's going to try his hand for another 3cc build, or try and mix things up and go for a 2-base. Worked well for Ryong against Snoot at least once. And surprise your opponent.
Once, that's the thing. All right, well,
I did it once. Whatever.
I was actually, to be honest, expecting MaSa to go a little bit heavier on the Reapers. Not necessarily 3 racks and all in. You don't want to risk your third and your last game on that. But we've seen a lot of 2 racks openers that lead into say 6 Reapers while you macro behind it, and that's been proven to get a lot of Terran players ahead in the early game.
That's what Ryong did, yeah.
A bit of an FU to that drone line. So the fact that he doesn't go for this does mean his factory comes out sooner. We might see Banshees, we might not. I mean, the nice thing about Orbital is you do have kind of a nice 2-base setup for whatever you want to do as Terran. You don't have to worry about Lings running by or Roaches necessarily busting up the ramp even.
Yeah, that's true. But MaSa is going to have to worry about Rogue's 2-base attack here, whatever it is going to be with this lair. So he doesn't actually have speed. He got a lair so quickly. First under gas he got, and right into that lair. We'll see if the next under gas is going to go into speed or a Roach Warren.
He's got to pick soon. I mean, if he's going to go Mutas, he needs more geysers as well. There's a couple of different ways he can do this, but nothing intuitive right now.
What's funny, though, is that because he isn't adding on speed, he can hold off a little bit farther on those gases if he's going to get Spire before speed, which sounds insane, but has happened. I mean, these really quick Spires, they're definitely coming back. 2-base Spire in general came back really hard, and then greedy 2-base Spires can be, thrown in once or twice in a best of 5.
Plus, the reminder that Rogue with Mutalisks is just seriously godlike. When we're talking about this, it sounds silly because maybe you're someone who watched in Heart of the Swarm, quit watching the game and came back for Legacy, so this sounds normal, but the strategy's fallen off really hardcore, and a big part of this is because Legacy of the Void, it's given more economy through minerals, Terrans produce Marines like nuts, you're going to see 5 racks down when you would normally see 3 in the past. Mutalisks just have a hard time actually being utilized, but Rogue is very good with his control, and very good at picking off drops.
People just got used to the flow, I suppose, of the new ZVT with Mutilating Bling, so they aren't being caught off guard as much as they were earlier, where they were just dying in a mid-game attack. So, Rogue, he's going to be scanned, which means he's not going to be a surprise a couple SCV kills, but when you start off with such a fast Spire, it's only going to be 8s or 9 Mutas, and not even, actually. Rogue doesn't have that much of a bank, so it's never going to be very potent initially. Still holding off on Ling speed, by the way, being quite greedy about that. This drop is timed.
Oh god, the slow Lings.
Yeah, he's going to go for a Queen, which won't kill it. which not bad for MaSa. I mean, he saved everything, which is why it's not bad, as long as the mutas don't end up chasing it down. 7 are on the way, and now he can start speed.
I wouldn't mind actually giving Andy for fending off the mutas. I mean, the wouldn't mind trades out 1 for 1 muta, but the Marines, after that splash damage hits, you know, he might just... yeah, it's almost like a bit of a bait.
Kind of.
I mean, you lose the 1 Marine, but you guarantee get a Mutalisk for it, so that's nice. That's clever. I like that.
Rogue is going to favor Roaches once again. Roach Warren is thrown down with an Evolution Chamber, despite getting the mutas initially.
He's going to fall for it.
Psych. That's pretty good.
You know, the other part of
mine too, though.
Well, the other part of it too is like if you've got the Overseer, right, you'll get the detection, but if you're auto-attacking, you go to the priority of the unit that's actually attacking, not the Widow Mine. So again, the Marine just kind of guaranteeing there'd be a hit there either way. MaSa just already impressing me with small details like that. I'm hoping to see a much better game from him already. But the mutas do need to be dealt with. Liberators are kind of questionable. You can split versus them fairly easily, and their wicked amazing splash damage becomes garbage very quickly. But as we see here, even you can't really fly over Marines. Just 4 Marines almost kill a Mutalist just by running by.
It is so few Mutalisks that it's like 2 Liberators should be it to deal with them.
You know, for MaSa as well, if he was watching the VODs from yesterday, if he saw the games live, he would know Rogue was doing this. Like, not a lot of mutas into Roaches. It was never like a situation where we saw 50 mutas. Well, we actually did see a game with like 39 mutas or something. It was never like, oh, you 50 mutas, ling bling, all in. Like, it was more consistently harass with the Mutalists and get the Roaches and Ravagers behind it.
I think you did aim off for subbing 15 months in a row.
Thank you.
Woohoo! Yeah, Roach, like, it's not a max out, but that's a lot of Roaches on the way, so he's holding off on the 4th base. Ooh, that was a nice Widow Mine hit. Not that the mutas are being that much of an annoyance anyways, but just making sure that they're called in numbers. So now, like, you could actually really drop. Like, 3 mutas are not going to kill a drop in time. But Rogue's massive amount of army that he's getting right now is worrying. I think he is going to look for a push out, or at the very least look to meet MaSa's push out head on with that +1 and speed. It seems very timed out to be just coincidental, I suppose. So after he pushes this back, then he can get a 4th base.
This actually going to drive the SCVs back.
Really?
There's no turret in the natural either. MaSa, okay, the Marines will deal with this, but this is something like you couldn't ignore, which kind of sucks. Pushing through over here, Ravagers aren't done yet, actually. They're still cooking.
Yeah, that was a little unfortunate. I think you want to meet him not on this ramp. That is still a very big Roach army, and MaSa's army does not match at all. And Liberators aren't going to help. Oh, whoa. So many missed.
That was like Samsung Galaxy Solar tier of, like, missing.
That was amazing. But the point is, he does push that back.
By the way, love Solar to death, guys. He's one of our favorite people in the world, but he is blind as a bat when it comes to using Ravagers, at least at the start of Legacy. I think there's this one game, it was like 40 shots to kill an Overlord. It was so bad.
It was.
Alright, the attack does commence over here. This isn't too bad. He'll draw that back. Again, the muta's still just kind of being alive, and they can keep dipping in and out, and MaSa still hasn't invested in a missile turret. Which is hilarious because... I'm
thinking, it's 3 mutas, what can they do?
Right, well, the other part of it, too, is if there's 8+ mutas, the missile turret's still no good, because, like, they focus it down, right? Like...
Right, yeah.
So, it's weird. He should have that. Pushing up at the front line, though, this is going to catch him off guard. Some of his army's still on the other side of the map. Catching the reinforcements that are rallied across. SCV is being pulled back and towards the main. MaSa not taking this fight until he's got more units is probably a smart idea, but you know this isn't going to catch that many units on the retreat. In fact, the Mutalisks still alive. That's hilarious. But
not enough, that's for sure.
Well, if this fight went down in the natural choke, this would have been devastating. But MaSa is not going to be able to clean this up with what he has.
It looks like it will be game despite his counter.
Not just
the
game,
counter
but
is
series.
So damn small. Exactly, it's going to be a 3-0. I mean, Rogue is an impressive opponent, but you know maybe we thought the lateness of the series would have affected him not as badly as maybe MaSa waking up from a nap.
Yeah. Shout out to Dubious SC2, new sub hype. Got here just in time because things might just be over. Ooh. I mean, I will say I really liked what MaSa tried to do with cutting off reinforcements. I thought that was a clever idea, but he didn't have enough at home, so that wasn't worth it. And GG gets called. Rogue will advance on to the semifinals where he's going to fight against Gumiho. Ooh.
He got.
And, of course, MaSa, sadly, while he does lose, he will walk away with $100 from this tournament. So, at least he's got something for him. But that does conclude the round of 8 cast. So I want to thank you guys. I love you all for tuning in. 10K viewers for this was way more than anyone expected, and that was awesome. Of course, we kind of fell down towards like 8K at the end of the day, but that's fine. A lot of good games got had, and the Snoot versus Ryung series was amazing. If you're watching this on the rebroadcast, know that I love you, even though I'm not here to say that live. But this will wrap things up. So we're going to end the broadcast actually here in a couple of different interesting ways. First, we're going to replay the video with Jesse. Jesse, for those who don't know, is the sponsor guy involved with TING, got us involved, got the money going, got this whole thing to happen. And he was one day, I think it was like last 2 weekends ago, 2.5 weekends ago, he challenged a lot of the viewers in chat to play him while we were casting some of the group stages. So, recorded that. It's pretty funny. We've played it a couple times today. People seem to enjoy it. We'll play it one more. I do have to talk to Rogue about possibly moving the finals, though, as he's got some Pro League conflicts, I think. So we'll talk to Jesse as well. He's been pretty cool. He's been pretty chill. Maybe we can move those finals around. But tomorrow is going to be the semifinals. That much for show. But we will have to confirm with Rogue what's going on. So, guys, once again, thank you to Ting. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. I'm going to do some things with Rogue. So would you mind shouting out our sponsors real quick?
Of course. First of all, G2A.com, use 3% off code BASE. They've been working with us really well, and we have no complaints about them. So if you've been hesitant, then I actually can say that a lot of people have been buying games and doing really well, and I haven't had too many complaints, and those have been fixed pretty fast. So definitely check them out if you're interested in buying any games whatsoever, or skins, or codes, or what have you. Your wood watches, woodwatches.com/base, just really nice wood watches that will maybe be nice for a special occasion, or just if you're that fancy walking around town. You get $200 off if you go there and check everything out. BaseTradeTV is the code for chairs for gaming. Of course, everyone on stream ever uses these chairs because they're comfy and they actually work, and you know what you're getting a good chair. And if you use the code, you also get free shipping to Canada and the United States. And lastly, Corsair, of course, you can just go down below, scroll down on the page. It gets direct links to some of the peripherals that we use, including the Every Fabulous wireless headsets, which is our favorite thing to talk about because it's one of the wireless headsets that actually work. I mean, it's 2016, and these things are actually getting some pretty damn good quality. Mic quality is not so much, but the audio quality, most importantly, is damn good. And being able to get up and move around is seriously really convenient.
Yeah, it certainly is. All right, so of course the last thing to say here is if you guys aren't already, make sure to check out our website, BaseTradeTV. We got schedules for all this stuff going on. We haven't really advertised it recently, but I hope you guys will check it out. Make sure to check out TING, all this good stuff. We're going to play that video from Jesse in a moment, but before we do, talking about what's going on, we're gonna play this last video for the stream. We're going to take the stream down for probably 10 or 15 minutes, so we'll probably host somebody in the process. But then Zombie Rabbit are going to come back, and we're going to be playing some Overwatch. So the stream has to be restarted to take off the stream delay anyway. So thank you, everybody who tuned in today. I hope you have a wonderful evening, a wonderful rest of your day. And times will be posted on Team Liquid in the next probably half an hour as we figure out what is best for players tomorrow. So do stick around if you want to watch some Overwatch, if you want to watch us host somebody else temporarily. Otherwise, have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.